should be going live now. All right. So, welcome everyone. And this is a very special edition going live in my YouTube channel. I'm Hector Garcia, and I'm very, very excited about the 2024 Final Four, or the four finalists from the Accounting High March Aptness Tournament. So let me start by introducing Scott Scarano really quick. Scott, you want to wave here so everybody can see you? So
What's up,
Scott
homies?
created, so hey, how you doing, Scott? Scott created a brand called Accounting High, which is predominantly a podcast, but it has a whole bunch of moving parts attached to it. It's actually really well thought of and really intricate. So good job, Scott, with that. And one of the kind of offshoots, one of the brainchild of Accounting High is this tournament called the Accounting High Bracket Challenge. So I'm going to share my screen really quick, just in case you've never seen this. And if you go into app.accountinghigh.com, I will put it in the chat in YouTube Live as well. You will see what the results are. And this started in March, of course. This is an homage to the basketball tournament, the college basketball tournament. And we are down to the final four. And in this live video, we have representatives from all four of these apps slash resources media collab. So let's kind of do a quick run through. We're gonna start with the business category.
So can I say
And
something real quick?
yeah, go ahead, Scott.
So
Yeah.
these four finalists that are on your show today are of the over 200 that got nominated in the beginning. This is the final four of all of that. We had about 250 things in the accounting profession nominated, and then it came down to 64 that made it into the tournament, and now we're down to the final four. So this is a pretty big achievement for you guys. Congratulations. This is pretty dope.
Thank you so much, Scott. I appreciate that. So each of us are winners in our categories. And I actually represent one of the brands here in the tournament. So we have Gusto, who was the winner, the one that got the most votes for the business category. So this is business applications, mostly geared towards accounting industry or folks that work with accountants or the folks that accountants help. So Gusto, represented by Will Lopez. You want to wave at the camera real quick, Will? So
What's
Will
up, everybody?
represents, yeah. So Will represents Gusto, and we'll give each person a chance to kind of like do their 30-second elevators pitch and kind of walk us through how we got here, right? So Gusto, congratulations for winning the business category of the bracket. Then we have Jason. Jason, you want to wave at the camera real quick? So Jason's representing the media portion of the bracket. Is Jason's stats either his podcast or his YouTube channel or both of them? You really can't separate the two. Is the winner representing the media slot of the tournament? And then we have Kate. You want to wave at the camera? Kate is representing the bookkeeping side hustle community, which comes from the collab category of the bracket, which is both conferences, communities, that sort of thing. And myself, I represent RightTool, who won the accounting applications section of the bracket. So I'm gonna go back to Will Lopez. And Will, I want you to give us two pieces of information. One is, how did you end up at Gusto? Like give us a quick journey on how you ended up at Gusto. What makes you the de facto face or representative of this brand to the accounting community? And then also sell us on why Gusto won. Why do you think Gusto won?
You mean why Gusto will win Final Four against RightTool?
No. Why Gusto won up to the bracket that you're in? Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, I think the quick 30 seconds on me is I'm an accountant by trade, been an accountant for my entire life, will be an accountant forever as far as I'm concerned. And I think just my own personal journey led me to Gusto to do a few things, which was one, kind of create a new category of advisory through Gusto called People Advisory, kind of help accountants think differently about payroll, see it as an inroad to higher value, see it as something more meaningful than I think what we all make it out to be. And it really is, because people are really centric to payroll. And so, just very grateful that I've been here for about 5 years. It'll be 5 years next month, believe it or not. And so, I think for myself, it's really, I think Gusto and kind of me being out in the community has always been present in my life because I was doing so much work for accountants, still do a lot of work for accountants, that I just kind of became de facto face of Gusto. Gusto, I think when I first joined, didn't really have a lot of external presence. And I think just by building a lot of the stuff that we did, required me to be out there more. So I was just loud and proud about everything that we were kind of doing, and just kind of became de facto. I'll personally share that I'm really impressed as far as like how Gusto's gotten this far in this bracket challenge, because it's all been organic. I've not pressed any send emails, which I could easily do to a lot of our customers. And so it's really cool to see how many people love Gusto, its platform, its product, the stuff that we've done for accountants. And I think, the proof is in the pudding as far as like the community being organic about what it loves and kind of cares about what Gusto's up to. So I'll definitely pull some straws here at the end, though. We'll definitely get something going. But yeah, that's kind of everything in a nutshell.
That's awesome, Will. And I think it's good to point out that, like other payroll HR companies, ADP, Paychex, Intuit Online Payroll, during COVID, payroll companies were very proactive at kind of giving information out. But I think most payroll companies were very much top down, like, hey, we know what it is, and here you go. Where I think Gusto took the approach of, hey, I know we're a community, and these things are moving probably a lot faster than what we can process, and our legal teams can run through and clean up and organize and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I think Augusta was probably the best one to kind of dip their foot in the water and just kind of start publishing things out. And it was very much an organic thing. And I think Gusto, even though it's 3 years ago, but Gusto definitely deserves the kudos for being a leader in that area. And the other piece is this concept of people advisory, which is you're teaching accounting professionals how to think about not only safeguarding cash, a very important resource in a company, is
Right.
safeguard the talent, right? Develop and safeguard the talent. And I think a lot of us kind of dismiss that part, because we're sort of head down, looking at the numbers, just focusing on profitability, where profitability only comes from keeping your talented people and having your talented people be productive. So Will Will and his team had the great vision of bringing out this new set of educational content that I think all of us can really, really learn from, in some cases apply. But you don't have to be an HR advisor or a people advisor. You can at least know enough to
Be dangerous.
Be dangerous, and sit down next to the business owner and go, hey, I know what you're going through. I have employees too. This is tough. Like, let's go at it. Let's attack this together. So I love that. So Will, thank you very much, and well deserved number one spot.
I mean, to your point real quickly, like, I think as pros, we're all really good. We're all financial focused. We're not faces in the financials focused. And I think, there's a lot of opportunity for accountants to really think differently about the services that we're delivering day in and day out. And I appreciate the kudos around Gusto. I mean, Gusto's nowhere near perfect, but I think to your point, the reason why I still love it every day is we're still just a bunch of people trying to do good work for other people. Right. And I think Gusto's heart on its sleeve is pretty present now. And during COVID now, I mean, like I said, we're not perfect as a company, but we are run by some pretty amazing folks. So that for me, like, I'm excited to come into the office every day, get the work that we need to get done for accountants, and continue to push the limits. So appreciate the highlights.
That's awesome. So gusto.com, check it out. Check out, if you're an accounting professional, check out the people advisory program that they have. It's great. Let's move on to Kate. Hey, Kate, how are you?
I'm good, man.
So, Kate, first of all, couple kudos. We've known each other since you kind of started building this community. We've had long, deep philosophical conversations about whether or not bookkeeping should be called a side hustle or not. And I told you this thing is never gonna catch on. And like usually I'm wrong about every prediction that I've ever made. So you have a Facebook group that has, I believe, over 20,000 members, or is it about that?
I think it's like 32 now, but it's
Yeah,
cool.
who's counting? Yeah, who's yeah. So, and what's really cool about the bookkeeping side hustle community is because it's called side hustle, I think it gives a lot of people permission to go, hey, consider bookkeeping as one of the ways you can complement your income. And hopefully, like my side of it is hopefully when they fall in love with it, then they no longer call it a side hustle and they graduate to a professional, right? A professional bookkeeper, an accounting professional. Tell us a little bit, Kate, about why you think the side hustle community won that spot. Like sell us your community.
Well, I don't know why we're in the final four, but I have no problems selling the community. I mean, I think we're the best, most friendly place for people who are interested in building a career in the virtual accounting, the cloud accounting world. And I'm like an industry outsider. I have had 2 accounting classes like in grad school, and that's kind of it. I never worked as an accountant. Then I was a stay-at-home mom. And so I'm like, if I can do this, anyone can do this. I'd never opened QuickBooks. Finally learned this thing called QuickBooks, right? So I knew Hector way before he knew me because I was watching all his videos, right? That's kind of a normal path to if you want to be able to become an expert in that software, right? So I just think that learning the knowledge of debits and credits, like and deciding that I could make some income that way changed my family's life. I had gone from making $0 to now I make a good living on my own terms, at my own speed. There was, when I first started, my goal was 3 clients and I wanted to make $10,000 a year. And I had like little sticky notes. That was like my little goal sheet, right? You put your goals in front of you. That was mine. And so if that's what people's goals are, I think that's fine. And so I like to be the encourager for the person who wants that, as long as you know the fundamentals, as long as you know the T accounts, as long as you know the financial statements, and as long as you can pick a software and get really good at it and not mess up business owners' financial lives. I'm here to support you, whether it's $10,000 a year or $1 million a year, and anything in between. And I think one of the unique things I bring is because I didn't grow up, in an accounting firm. I've never worked for anybody else like that. I think there's a whole lot of ways to make money in the accounting world. And I have met so many people who have so many different personalities and skill sets and things that they love. There's weird sales tax people. There's weird like payroll fixers, and like, okay, fine. Like I'll never do either of those things. But can you go carve out a living for yourself doing that? I will say go for it. And I have creative ideas to like help you kind of stand out. And because I think that's because I didn't grow up in like this traditional accounting way. I had to learn it all myself and have learned to make money in a variety of ways. So I do have a real firm. I really do serve clients. And so I'm very proud of that. And I don't want to stop doing that. So I'm like sweating there with my clients. I'm sweating with the other bookkeepers, right? Like, I don't know how to book this. I better figure out, client did something really weird and I have to pretend like I know, but then I got to go figure out the right answer and I can't mess it up too, right? And so I need help, and I try to have my community be a place where I get help and where I can help others.
Yeah, absolutely. So Kate, yeah, congratulations for building such a great community. Thank you for having a place where bookkeepers can, ask questions and not be made fun of or a CPA that has tons of experience try to make somebody feel bad about not knowing the debit and credit. I think that's what's great about communities like that, where people are saying, hey, by the way, we're all sort of getting started with this and we all need the help. And believe it or not, it's even though you have 30,000 people in that community, there's probably another 500,000 or 1 million that don't even know the community exists. So going to Facebook, everybody, going to Facebook, search for a group called Bookkeeping Side Hustle and be part of the 40,000 or
Sure.
50,000 that the community is going to grow into anytime soon. And the other thing I want to mention is one thing that I love about Kate is that she saw what I was doing with my channel with QuickBooks and said, hey, there's a untapped opportunity here to create content around FreshBooks. And like you said, there's tons of ways to make money in this profession. You just have to have your eyes open, be alert, take a look at what's missing. And if you yourself are searching for a resource, let's say you have a question about accounting or bookkeeping, and you got stuck and you're searching for your resource and you can't find it, instead of being frustrated that you can't find it, turn that into an opportunity. You go, you know what? If I can't find it, nobody else can find it. Let me be the one that creates the same resource that I didn't even know how to do. And that's kind of, I think Kate did that. We're starting to do that with the Facebook, with the FreshBook videos. And I congratulate you on that.
Exactly. Yeah. I learned how to do video editing from you. I took a little course you offered, and that was another like huge fork in my road. Yeah. So my business, actually, I'm specializing in FreshBooks because I realized that was an untapped area, and I would rather be a bigger fish in a smaller pond than trying to be compete with all the pro advisors out there for QuickBooks. So that was just the tack that I took. I do want to say one of my things that I love most is I do write a newsletter. I think it's just as good, if not as good, or it's just as good as the Facebook group, and that's on Substack. And I kind of build in public there. And so I wear two different hats. So I have a bookkeeping side hustle hat, and I have a heritage business services hat that I kind of keep separate to client facing. But I every other Saturday publish a newsletter that the bottom section is called Kate Builds in Public. And it's just like, I lost a client today, or I got 2 clients today, or I don't know what, I built something on a website today, like to try a different language, right? Like I do stuff like that. And I think it's where I put my heart into that newsletter. And so definitely y'all go check that out. I try to make it really valuable. It's very long. It's like a newspaper. So you have to be able to read. I know it's 2024 and people don't like to do that, but
yeah, but it's only weekly or every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks, every Saturday morning.
Yeah. So Kate, do me a favor, when you get a chance, go into the Facebook video, just go into my channel, look for the live video, post the subscription link to your newsletter, the Facebook group, post everything down there. Will, the same thing. People advisory links, please post that right there. I started by posting how to go vote for the accounting bracket. So so we're sort of halftime here. The purpose of this is for us to have an opportunity to chat, an excuse to talk about what's going on in our world and why we are so passionate about it, and to encourage every single one of you to go vote in the accounting bracket, that your voices be heard. Pick your favorite. I won't hold it against you if you don't pick RightTool as the favorite. Pick your true favorite, and hopefully, these politicians, these candidates had a chance to win your vote as well. So last but not least, we have Jason Stats there in the bottom. Jason's hello. And Jason, I'll start with the question. First of all, how did you get to a place where you're creating daily content? And it's not just daily content. You really haven't pushed and promoted and leveraged your video, your email list, and you were number one, coming in the number 1 seed with votes. So tell me humbly, right? How do you think it got to this point?
Well, I think I'm the only full-time creator that was in that list. So what I do is more of a volume game where people can't not see me because I don't have a job. Everybody else does. Kate's running a firm. Will's shilling for big payroll. I don't have a job, so all I do is I just turn up on social media every day so that folks see me. And so it's probably just a product of relentlessly putting out content. That's probably about it.
Yeah. Well, one thing I want to add is, obviously my channel, not the biggest, but one of the biggest channels that's QuickBooks centric, and tons of third-party apps email me constantly every day. And Jason knows this, asking me to make a video for them. Okay. And most of the time I say, first of all, if you want a great video, go to Jason first, because I know for a fact you're going to get an awesome video. I'm more of like a long-winded tutorial guy. I'll do long-winded tutorials all day long, but if you want a video that's really nicely edited, that has some dad jokes and accounting jokes that land actually, some really nice B-roll. Jason is obsessed with one particular model in the world of stock photography that he always calls. I think, is that Steve?
I don't
Is
know
that
who you're
Steve?
talking about. Yeah, I don't know.
Is it the one that always shows up, right? In your
Oh,
B-roll? Is it
I
Steve? Is
thought
it
the
you?
model was an aged version of you, Jason. I was looking at it and I thought you had an AI tool that
You
just
know,
aged
I thought
you.
the same thing.
I was like, I just think he's got a picture of himself behind just in the future.
I never thought about that. No, it's some random guy from the stock video library.
Yeah, but you
Hmm.
always use them, so I love it. So
Yeah.
I'll, since I guess you didn't want to speak about the details, I'll speak to the details. So Jason sold his firm at some point last year. He got fed up with, I guess, doing tax returns or whatever it is. Obviously has a talent for communicating, for creating jokes on the spot, making fun of the stuff that we all like want to make fun of, but we can't find the words to do that with. And I think Jason's extremely talented. He's a great storyteller. And sometimes Jason will create a video about a third-party app nobody's ever heard of. And that third-party app has done tons of webinars, tons of videos, but it wasn't until they saw Jason's version where they go, now I understand what the app can do or the possibilities that it can do, which is why we hired Jason to make a video for RightTool. And I think like several of the contestants here in Accounting High, Keeper hired Jason for that, and many of the apps are here that were here and in this contest because Jason, in many ways, I believe is the best creator in an industry that can keep things short per se. Like I'll try to keep the title of the one that does good long stuff, but when it comes to making it short, sweet, and poignant, Jason is the guy. And if you are a third-party app company that is looking to do things in social media and is focused on the number of followers, oh, that person has 100,000, 500,000. Let me tell you something. Jason's followers are hardcore fans. They trust what he's got to say, and he's earned his trust every single day for the last but year or so. Released a podcast episode and discusses all sorts of things. And the other thing I want to mention is when it comes to talking about AI, at the very beginning, Jason said so many things that went over a lot of our heads. And now you're starting to see the software companies build, and you're like, oh, that's exactly what Jason said. It wasn't going to work until this happens, or it's going to only kind of partially work until this happens. So Jason was also a great predictor of how AI will start coming into play. And I believe that he will still be doing that. So with that being said, Jason, tell us where you think AI is heading. How do you think it's going to affect our industry and the software that we use?
Man, that's $1 million question. It's been a wild, last year and a half, and it's going to keep this year. I think we're seeing more like practical contextual applications of it in a product. Last year was like the year of the chat box, and I think we're getting past that with some more practical applications now. The big thing over the next couple of years is AI agents, or these tools that basically operate apps the same way a human user does. So like they have a level of reasoning where they can like figure out, well, what do I click next? And actually like start doing the work for you. But yeah, it's exciting. It's changing every day. It's really hard to keep up with when you've got a day job and need to keep your eye on the prize while somehow, not being surprised by all this. I think it's interesting. Like, I love that this tournament pits machines against humans. Like on Kate and I's side, you've got, like the actual people. And then on Will's and Hector's side, you've got the tools. And as we know, the machines are probably coming for all of us. So ultimately, I don't know. In fact, I would encourage people to vote for Kate because I think what she's built is amazing.
They don't need encouragement. You're down by 10 points right now.
Ultimately, what I hope we see in the end here is the humans winning out, not the tools or the software, because we all know that they're going to win in the end. we know that that's where this all ends up. So hopefully it's Cater Eye in the end.
I'd
Eight
vote for
points,
that.
Interesting.
8 points, not 10 points. Somebody changed their vote right as I said that.
Yeah. Interesting. So I'll do my quick I get my own infomercial out there. So I've been doing this for about 15 years. And when I say this, I mean accounting and social media and videos and mucking around with QuickBooks and dreaming about QuickBooks and that sort of thing. And QuickBooks Online has been such a steaming pile of garbage for so long. And it doesn't matter how loud I try to like influence people to like make it good or make it, sturdy and dependable like QuickBooks Desktop, that I had eventually threw the towel and said, what if some of these things that I've been asking for, I can build it just from my own practice. So I started playing around with different ideas, and I was completely blessed by a person that came from the heavens, literally, to partner up with me, which is like, it's like the perfect developer that knew who I was, understood our vision, and has built a really nifty little app that works together with QuickBooks. Almost, it's not AI. I can call it AI, and you probably would believe me because it feels like it's black magic sometimes. But it's not AI. It's a software assistant, which is what software should always be, your assistant. And I feel that some of these software companies, and QuickBooks Online included, they're getting so bloated with so many moving parts in advertising and whatever, that it loses the essence of what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be a tool, for you to perform your work, for the human to perform the work for another human, so the other human can reach their life goal. So what we were trying to achieve with RightTool is building an app that will make the average QuickBooks user a pro, and the pro QuickBooks user a wizard. Okay, so that's RightTool, and of course, I want to lobby, for my vote as well. I know we wanted to end this at about 30 minutes, and Will has to go.
I don't know
back
if you need to lobby, Hector. You're
to-
up
to
by
fix-
almost 150 points right now.
Ooh,
Yeah, I mean,
Ooh,
well,
no,
major
Russian-
kudos to
don't
Hector.
tell
because-
Will
Crushing
that.
gusto right now.
I mean, major kudos to Hector, though. I think what's really cool nowadays, and I think Jason and Kate can attest to this as well, is we're seeing kind of accountants kind of get more, they're putting more power in their hands and saying, you know what, kind of enough is enough about technology and certain kinds of softwares. Like, we make requests, they're not really being heard. Obviously, there's a lot of priorities at larger tech companies. We're seeing a lot of firms build their own tools. And I think that's pretty amazing. I mean, what an incredible place to be for the industry. I mean, obviously few and far between as far as firms doing that, but it just goes to show that, accounts really have evolved into something drastically different for those, for a lot of firms who just want more capability and more ability to serve clients with integrity, really.
Right.
So,
right. And to be clear, and Kate, give me a second, just I'll finish this point. It's not that I wasn't being heard in QuickBooks, because I could probably, I should feel like the most heard person over at QuickBooks, just because of the amount of interactions and things we've done with them. It just hasn't been fast enough. And the problem is, the bigger QuickBooks gets, the slower they are to react to the needs. And I believe that right now, like Jason said, it's a race against the machines for relevancy, and I think the humans need to prevail. And if the tools, if the AI and automation in the tools give the impression to the customers that they're working faster and better than the professional and the technician, we can lose that relevancy. So I think the software companies are going to win with professionals are the ones that focus 100% on giving those professionals every single tool they need so they can compete. Now, of course, humans are always better than machines. However, machines plus a huge marketing budget could give the impression that that's better than humans. So the humans need to have every single weapon in the arsenal to shine, or at least to continue to be relevant. Kate, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I was just going to say, I think Hector is a great example of like someone who has like an accountant with an entrepreneurial mindset. And I think a lot of accountants, like you might not ever be able to have a true entrepreneurial core. I would not consider myself an entrepreneur. I am like a great employee. I love working for people. But that wasn't going to work out for me and my family and my life as a Navy wife. And so Hector's an example. I mean, Hector makes money from YouTube, from selling courses, from putting on a conference, from making commercials for people. And it's like, once your eyes open, if you know the debits and credits, if you just open your eyes to say, is there a way that I can make money this year that's not clicking around on a client file? Once you do that, then you're going to see 3 other ideas. And some of them are not going to go well. Hector's told me plenty of times, he's like, yeah, that business idea failed. That idea failed. I lost money on that. But you have your eyes open, and that's what I want to do. I realized I was never going to build a strong income because my passion wasn't there as a bookkeeper. I needed to be a trainer. I want to be a tutorial creator for FreshBooks, as an example. You know, I want to write a newsletter. So I'm in the accounting industry, but that's kind of adjacent, right? But I can make an income that way. Some people are good writers. Just open your eyes and say, is there a way that I can make money that's not click direct one-on-one client work? Maybe it's building the next RightTool. There's plenty of room for other little things like that. And if you have if you loved your computer science class when you were in school, then maybe go that way. I think that's where things that can get really exciting in our career and allow you to, that's what really happened in my family, like changed my life. Once I was like, oh wait, I don't just have to serve clients and make $10,000 with my 3 clients, you know, like I can do more that I enjoy, that works around my schedule. So I just think you're a great example of that, Hector. And I want people to, and Jason's a great example of that too. I mean, there's so many ways to take your passions and build, because I think he built an app too, right? Like, didn't you try to have Fin Daily too? Like there's just so many ways. So take your skills and open your eyes.
Yeah, Jason, can you talk to us about really quick, just the app that you built? I believe you sold it at this point, but I would love to know, you as an accountant that probably doesn't know any code. I know you're tech savvy, but you probably don't know how to code. I'm just gonna make that assumption. Like, how do you go about doing it? Why did you do it, and why did you ultimately exit that?
Just like what you were talking about, it started from a need that my firm had. We were doing a bunch of short-term cash reporting for clients, and it was just like this kind of rote pulling in all these different data sources into this email digest that we would send to them. And people would pay really good money for it because it was such a big stressor for them. But ultimately we figured out, well, there's a way that this could be productized. It would be really helpful for our firm, and it would automate that. And also just, there's an element of like self-discovery there too, where and I'm sure you experienced this, Hector, you're like, I mean, I can be a real know-it-all. And so you see what the tools are doing, and you're like, no, get out of the way. I can do this way better than you. So there's an element of that too, where you're like, well, let's just see how this goes. And in the process, I learned that I was a terrible product person because I'm way too much of a know-it-all. And the last thing I want to do is sit on calls with accountants all day, asking them how they can use the tool. And like, that's ultimately what that product needed. So I got out of there eventually. But yeah, just like going through that exercise, I think was a lot of fun. To Kate's point, like the reason I was able to be a full-time creator was because I kind of stumbled into running this private community for firm owners, and that ultimately is what finances, being able to do content and make silly videos and have a team of editors and all that. There's just yeah, there's so many like different angles in this profession and needs that folks have that accountants are really well suited to fill. Like, we're used to software people you know, trying to figure out what we need, who don't have that expertise. And like, you know, people like Will, who like myself couldn't hack at running a firm, so we went and found something else to do. Like, people like Will are really unique because they can sort of wear both of those hats, but it leaves the door wide open for accountants to come in and fill some of those voids.
Yeah, sure. And I'll end it with this.
I got a question.
Actually, Scotty, go ahead.
Did you get the name Jason Daly from Fin Daily?
No, it was because we were planning on publishing every day. I never
Oh, I
thought
thought
about
maybe
that
you
though.
borrowed the last name, borrowed the last name from Finn and used it.
It's
I mean,
No.
you got to take
J.
your daily vitamins of Jason stats. So
Something
Vitamin
like
J.
that.
Jason,
Sorry,
I'm
it was a
expecting
bad
like
joke. I
Jason
just tried to throw
Daily,
that in there.
like vitamin B or something like that coming out here pretty soon.
Vitamin J.
I had a whole
Ooh.
like Jason hourly thing for April Fools, like as if daily wasn't enough.
For some context, and I'll links in the YouTube description here. Jason has two YouTube channels. One's called Jason Stats, which is mostly just going deep into like top apps or top problems. It's kind of like very much listicle and I don't want to say clickbaity because it's not clickbaity, but it's that type of like the things that people search and the things that people want to know. Top 5 reasons accountants need to do this, or top 5 apps that accountants are not looking at when it comes to AI or practice management or whatever. Great content, absolutely great content, really well researched. I mean, like Jason taught everybody a master class on this when he did the practice management video, because not only did the practice management video, also did a whole document to go by that. And that's how you create great content. It's not just a video to go, wow, awesome, then have a reference guide, for you to compare again. So it did an awesome job there. And going back to Kate's point, what it all boils down to is creativity. Like this is our only edge as humans versus AI, is that AI can only regurgitate the history, where humans can create something from scratch. And accountants typically are fearful of the word creative, because creative accountant means you're unethical and you'll go to jail, right? Or something like that. But unfortunately, for some strange reason, the word creative was snatched from us. It was completely stolen from our industry. And none of us ever will call themselves a creative accountant. And I would love to, one of my life goals is to bring creativity, but to accounting, not creativity, like debits and credits and accounting rules and tax rules. Those are what they are. And we are going to follow those, and we're going to do right by those. But the way we present what we do and how we do and how we frame and reframe our industry is going to boil down to creativity. Jason's incredibly creative CPA. If anything, if somebody were to ask me who's the most creative CPA, I would say absolutely Jason. Kate, I mean, like building something from nothing. Her Facebook group is like, I would say a fraction of the time of my Facebook group, and it's 3 times the size. I mean, she was extremely creative. She looked at what other people were doing. She grabbed a couple of the things that she liked from other people, and then whatever she thought and she was feeling very strong about, with conviction, she followed through with it. I told her not to do a group called Side Hustle, and she ignored it. But at the same time, she also followed my advice in other areas. Look at Scott, a bracket challenge for apps and communities. This is the stuff that we need to keep accountants engaged, to keep our young talent engaged, to bring new talent into our profession. They need to see that we have the capacity to do fun, different things, forward-looking things. And every single person here, I think we all play that part. We all are the 4 horses of the apocalypse or whatever that are going to make sure that that accounting industry gets transformed for the better, right? I mean, it's our duty, all 5 of us. It's our duty. It rests in our shoulders to make sure that moving forward, the next generation sees accounting as the most forward-looking, most creative, most fun, most desirable place to want to be in, instead of the opposite of what's happening now. And for that, we need to embrace AI, communities, being creative, and everything else. So we'll wrap it up with since
It's
we're
important to
talking
note
about
too, Will
Go
was
ahead.
making videos on YouTube long before he was at Gusto too. He was
Absolutely.
one
Well, I
of the
mean,
pioneers.
well, I was going to say, Hector, and I know we're going to close out, but I mean, to your point, I think what you see here, especially on this live, is a representation that one can truly be an entrepreneur as an accountant. That is, you can get into this space and kind of do as your heart's content and what you're really passionate about. There are no limits, I think, within this industry. I think if there are limits, it's because we've
Self-imposed.
placed it's self-imposed limits, right? So for Kate to be doing her thing, Hector, for you to be doing your thing, me, myself, and Scott and Jason, I mean, what you're seeing here is we're all still accountants, guys. Like we love what we do. We love our profession. but we're just approaching it in very different ways, and that's absolutely acceptable. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. So it's a really exciting time.
Perfect. Awesome. So we'll wrap it up. Make sure to go to app.accountinghigh.com.
You could also
Vote
go to
for-
ABC too.
Or ABC.
or ABC. Either one works.
abc.accountinghigh.com. Vote for Gusto or RightTool, or vote for the Bookkeeping Side Hustle community, or Jason Stats / Jason Daly. It really doesn't matter who wins at this point. I believe all 5 of us here are representing a next wave of good things to come for our industry. And I want to say, Will,
But there can only be 2 winners of this round. Only 2 winners of this round.
Yeah, and I want to just congratulate Will on that great concession speech. Very, very good.
Yes, the one that I'll never give, but it's okay.
It's all right.
All right.
RightTool is currently up 180 to 37.
Gotta step it up. Gotta step
Gotta
it up,
step
Will.
it up. Gotta step it up. There'll be some more votes that come in today for sure. Jason Daly, Jason Stats 97, Bookkeeping Side Hustle 104. So close.
There we go.
Close.
All the people needed to hear was my voice, and they ran and voted for Kate.
They've all know your voice by now. Everyone knows it.
So, hey guys, thank you very much for doing this sort of last minute. Everybody wins. Thank you, Scott, for
everybody
building
wins. This is
fun thing. Yeah.
I mean, there's no losers in this. There's just the people that don't go to the next round. So
Scott's done the lion's share of the work on this, so thank you.
Mm-hmm.
oh, yeah. Thanks
Yeah,
for putting
thank
this
you.
on, Hector.
Yeah, and thank you all of you guys. Thank you, Will. Thank you, Kate. Thank you, Jason, and thank you, Scott. Guys, go vote. Be part of this community. Be part of this movement. We'll see you in the next one.